Hello, everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of Celebrating Marvel Studios. I am Chad Miller. Okay, so this is going to be a discussion about the Disney Plus series Hawkeye. I'm going to go over the entire series. I'm not scripting this, so I'm kind of flying by the seat of my pants. And there will be some spoilers, so if you haven't watched it yet, you might want to stop right now. Or if you don't care to and just want to know my opinion, go right on ahead. It doesn't really matter. Okay, so in my personal opinion, I think Hawkeye is the most underused Avenger in the MCU. And I've often felt really bad because I've always thought he was awesome, and I do have a thing for archers, though. So Katniss Everdeen, Scarlet from G.I. Joe with a crossbow. It's just, I don't know. Maybe I just need to take up archery. That could be on my bucket list. But anyways, I've just always thought that Hawkeye was really cool, and I mean, he's had some really good moments in the films, don't get me wrong. I just wish they could have used him more. But they gave him his own Disney Plus show. However, it's not really his show. But it wouldn't exist without him. So we kind of kick off the series with a young Kate Bishop, a privileged young girl, and then the attack on New York City happens, in which she loses her father, but she also witnesses her soon-to-be hero Hawkeye in action. And so ever since then, she's been inspired to be like Hawkeye. And so we go forward many years later, and it's past Avengers Endgame, and someone has taken up the Ronin suit, and Clint is in New York City with his children, doing some pre-holiday celebrating, all that kind of stuff, and he's alerted to the fact that Ronin is around. So he decides to stick around and try to figure things out, and it turns out he comes across Kate Bishop, and she's like fan geeking out. And so over the course of time, there's a forced camaraderie based on various situations that just kind of bring them together, and it's quirky and it's fun, and they have really good chemistry, and as things progress throughout the series, Clint realizes that things are far more dangerous than what Kate should be getting herself into. So he tries to distance himself from her, and we are also introduced to a character named Maya. And Maya's father was brutally murdered by Ronin. So she has a pseudo godparent of sorts, and she basically takes the reins of this tracksuit mafia, hoping to get revenge on Ronin, who has reappeared via Kate Bishop. And so that leads into one of the many problems. The interesting thing about Maya is that she is deaf, and she also has a prosthetic leg. And I just find that fascinating because of representation. So plots are foiled, there are battles to be had, and Kate and Clint are brought together time and again to either help each other out or just happen to be caught in the same scenario. Once again, very good chemistry between Jeremy Renner and Haley Steinfeld. In fact, talking about Haley Steinfeld, not very familiar with her. I really didn't care to know anything about her. I just thought that she would just be this typical young acting B-movie kind of actresses. She's amazing, and I love her bravedas. I love how committed and driven she is to what is going on, and there are things going on in her home life that she's wanting to uncover, and her mother, portrayed by Vera Farmiga, who is amazing in everything, and there's no exception here. Just kind of tosses Kate's desires and dreams aside and wants her just to live a normal life, not try to become a non-superhero superhero. So, as things unfold, Clint is doing his best to find out what is going on with the Ronin situation. He gets introduced to Maya, who is going by the name Echo, and paths across their hijinks and all that good stuff. And then when it starts to get meaty is when Clint just basically tells Kate, "You've got to be done. You're just done. I don't want any more from you. Don't do anything more. This is not your game. I don't want you injured." And we get a lot of a nice taste of how Clint feels about his time as Ronin, and then the situation with him and Natasha during the events of Endgame, and all that weighs on him tremendously. Also that he also has very, very limited hearing. He wears one hearing aid in his left ear that helps him out. He's not entirely deaf, but pretty darn close. And he knows some sign language, and that's nice. And so Kate just can't leave things alone. She's worried about her mother's safety. So enter in Yelena Belova. Yes. This was such a highlight for me. If you're not already familiar, she was introduced in the Black Widow movie, and she is the pseudo sister to Natasha Romanoff's Black Widow. And she was sent to kill Ronan, or Hawkeye actually, for killing Natasha by some shady informative. So she's on a mission. Kate Bishop gets in the way. There's some fantastic dynamics that happen between them just in conversation. They do eventually get into a physical fight later on, but Florence Pugh as Yelena is astounding, and her face work, her acting chops, and her physicality, all very, very, very top notch. And I hope she scores her own MCU movie. I hope she's not relegated to Disney Plus shows. I think she did a lot better in this series than she actually did in the Black Widow movie. Not to say that she was bad, I just think her game was up and she just stuck the landing. So, as time goes on, it gets to the point where Clint realizes he needs Kate, and Kate realizes she really needs Clint, because there's some massive breakthroughs in the investigations that they are doing. And it's leading to a very prominent character in the comics who is also featured in a Marvel Netflix show. And toward the end, we in the 5th episode, we get a glimpse of who it is, and it's Vincent D'Onofrio reprising his role as Kingpin, from which he played on the Netflix series Daredevil, and was amazing. Like, one of my most favorite casting choices ever, and performances of all time. So when he was brought on, I mean, I was just like, bring it, I want it, yeah. So when it comes down to the conclusion at the end of the series, we do get a lot of Kingpin. I was hoping that, I was really hoping there would be a few more episodes to this series, just to kind of flesh things out a little bit more. While some of the pacing was slow at first, things kind of got rushed toward the end. And there are some honorable mentions as far as the cast goes, but I'm not going to get into that. I'll let you guys determine that for yourselves. So, at the end, you know, there's a big climax between Hawkeye's Ronin versus Echo. Hawkeye and Yelena, which, you know, Yelena blames Clint for Natasha's death. And that scene was powerful. It almost made me cry. Almost. I got into feels a little bit, but no actual tears. But I was sadly disappointed at the portrayal of Wilson Fisk, considering how powerful Vincent D'Onofrio was in the role during the Daredevil series. Something may or may have not happened to him at the end. I'm hoping not, because they need to bring him in and get back to who he was as Wilson Fisk in the Daredevil series, because that is something the MCU needs big time. So there is overall a bit of a happily ever after. One thing I would like to point out that I haven't really glossed over is that throughout this entire adventure, Clint has been constantly in contact with his wife Laura, and she seems to know things that you wouldn't think she would know based on her several appearances in other MCU films. So we're getting a glimpse that she is actually an MCU character who might be under a different guise, and there's lots of rumors out there as far as who she may be. And if that is the case, we need at least a Hawkeye series 2, or season 2, or find some way to bring Linda Cardellini into the MCU fold so she can rock this character, and I would love to see that. This character is kind of a favorite of mine. She harkens back more to my early comic book days as a favorite. I've never really been able to flesh her out as a character, but I would love to see this character in action in the MCU. So yeah, overall, very satisfied with the series. I definitely liked everything that there was to like about it. The action sequences were good. Actually, some of them were phenomenal. The witty banter and the writing was very nice. Florence Pugh, Vera Farmiga. I can't recall the actress that plays Echo. Haley Steinfeld, Linda Cardellini. This show is chock full of amazing female talent, and I couldn't be happier about that. It warms my heart. So if you've watched the entire run of Hawkeye and would like to leave your opinions, make sure you note that there are spoilers ahead just in case somebody hasn't seen it yet, but open up some discussion. I would love to hear what you guys think about this show. As far as how I'm going to rate the Disney Plus shows thus far, let's see, we have WandaVision, we have Falcon and the Winter Soldier, we have Loki, and now Hawkeye. So, this is really tough because they're all so different in their own ways. I'm going to put Loki at the bottom, Hawkeye at number 3, Falcon and the Winter Soldier at number 2, and WandaVision at number 1. And you can beg to differ with me, and just be, polite, comment, and respectful of other people's opinions. So, I didn't throw too many spoilers in there, but share your comments below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. I'm looking forward to what Disney Plus comes up with. They're doing really well. There are definitely things that can be improved upon, but once you start linking these things into the MCU film canon, it's gonna be must-watch TV. So, thank you for watching. Love and light to you all.